Hey everybody, my name is Chandler Nolan, and I'm going to be teaching you on how to change a tire. So the first step is, knowing how to change a tire is very important, and you want to know how to do it so that way you're not stranded on the side of the road and stuck without any help. So everybody should know how to change their tire. So changing a tire is pretty common. It's pretty simple. Not too much to it, but I'm going to explain to you basically 4 steps on how to get it all done. So step 1 is that you want to make sure that you understand where your spare is. So the spare tire, it can either be in the trunk or it could be underneath the car. If you have an SUV or a truck, it's most likely underneath it. If you have a Jeep or an off-road or an older SUV, sometimes they can be on the back of it. And then in most SUVs, trucks, that's underneath it. Smaller cars and sedans, that is inside the trunk underneath the luggage or underneath the carpet. So once you've identified where that is, most of the time next to it, your jack and your tire iron is next to it as well. So once you have identified all your equipment, you're set, and it's pretty much everything you're going to need to change the tire. So step 1 is that you're going to go to the flat tire. You're going to loosen all of the lug nuts that are on it. You're going to just get it to where you can turn it with the tire iron, so that way it's not hard. Because if you try to do it while it's on the jack, you're going to end up sliding it off the jack, and it'll cause more damage than a flat tire. So you go ahead, loosen every single lug nut, make sure that you don't have to put any pressure on it to take them off. Once you do that, you need to get your jack, and then go ahead and jack it to where the tire is off of the ground. So that way there's clearance underneath it, enough clearance for you to either take off the old tire and put on your spare tire or a new tire. Once you do that, then what you're going to have to do is remove that tire, put it back either where you had the other spare or your spare tire underneath the truck or SUV, in the trunk, or on the back, wherever you found your other one at. So that way you can make sure it's secured down in the proper areas. Next step, what you need to do is to go ahead and take your new tire or spare tire and put it onto the car or truck, whatever you're driving. Once you have it on there, you need to go ahead and put your lug nuts on there and finger tighten each lug nut. And then go back over with the tire iron and just make sure they're snug. Don't try to put too much torque on it. It'll end up, like the same process, you'll end up sliding it off the jack. Once you do that, you need to go ahead and lower the jack back down to where the tire is back on the ground. Once it is back on the ground, what you need to do is that you're going to have to take the tire on and tighten each bolt to as tight as you can. But you want to make sure you do this in a star pattern to make sure that your tire is not crooked on the wheel hub. If you do that, that could cause the tire to get wobbly, cause it to fall back off, and you'll be in a worse situation than what you already are in. So all this is just to prevent that from happening further. Now, once you got it back on the ground, go ahead and tighten them back up. After that, make sure you put all of your equipment back into the car where you found it at last. Wherever you have it stored, if it's in the SUV or truck, make sure put it back underneath it. If it's in a car, and put it back in the trunk next to the spare tire. That way, in case this were to ever happen again, what you need to do is, pretty much same steps, but this way you have all the equipment with you just in case it were to happen again. And that way, you don't end up on the side of the road stuck and have one on a tow truck, because tow trucks can get very expensive. It can be up to, $200, $300 a tow, depending on how far you're trying to get to. Once you do that, then you need to find the closest tire shop or mechanic. So, because your spare can only last so long, you can only go about 50 to 100 miles on a spare. You're not supposed to go over 20 on it, depending on what your spare is rated for. So this is all to prevent this from happening further. But that's pretty much the basics on how to change a tire. It's all pretty simple. This will hopefully help you out next time you're stuck on the side of the road. It's pretty simple knowledge, and that way you'll be safe. But other than that, I appreciate you guys listening to everything I have to say, and have a great day.